Tired of being walked all over? The audiobook, Respect Yourself, Brutally Honest Advice to Stop Being Soft, delivers the brutal truth you need to hear. Discover how to shed your soft exterior and build unshakable self-respect. From setting boundaries to cutting toxicity, this brutally honest guide will transform how you see yourself and how others treat you. Don't let passivity hold you back any longer. Transform your mindset and boost your confidence. The respect you deserve is within reach. Are you ready to claim it? Before we go on, I invite you to download the free bundle, which contains the ebook version of this book and an executive summary of all the chapters with the key takeaways. Studies show that engaging with content through multiple formats significantly enhances learning and retention. Click on the first link in the description to claim your free bundle now and maximize your learning potential. Now it's free, but it won't be for long, so make sure to grab it while you can. Chapter 1: The Hard Truth. Life has a way of revealing our true nature, often in the most unexpected and uncomfortable ways. You've picked up this book because deep down, you know something isn't right. You've felt it in the pit of your stomach when you've said yes when you wanted to say no. You've seen it in the mirror when you've avoided your own gaze, knowing you've let yourself down once again. It's time to face the music. You've been soft, and it's costing you dearly. This isn't about shame or self-flagellation. It's about honesty, brutal, uncompromising honesty, the kind that makes you squirm but ultimately sets you free. Because here's the truth: respect isn't given, it's earned. And the person you need to earn it from, first and foremost, is yourself. Think back to the last time you stood up for yourself, truly advocated for your needs, or drew a line in the sand. If you're struggling to recall such a moment, you're not alone. Many of us have been conditioned to prioritize harmony over authenticity, to swallow our pride rather than rock the boat. But at what cost? Every time you compromise your values, every instance you let someone walk all over you, you're sending a clear message: I don't matter. It's a silent erosion of your self-worth, happening so gradually you might not even notice until you wake up one day feeling like a stranger in your own life. But here's the good news. You've taken the first step. By picking up this book, you've signaled to yourself and the universe that you're ready for change. You're prepared to confront the uncomfortable truths about where you've been too passive and how it's held you back. This is where real transformation begins. As you journey through these pages, you'll learn to identify the areas of your life where you've been accommodating to a fault. You'll recognize patterns of behavior that have kept you small, safe, and ultimately unfulfilled. This isn't about becoming aggressive or unkind. It's about finding your voice, setting healthy boundaries, and living with integrity. The process won't be easy. There will be moments of discomfort, perhaps even pain, as you confront long-held beliefs and patterns. But remember, growth happens at the edge of your comfort zone. Each challenge you face, each difficult conversation you have, is an opportunity to build your self-respect muscle. Over time, as you continue to apply the principles in this book, you'll develop a strong foundation of self-respect. This isn't just about feeling good about yourself, although that's certainly a benefit. It's about creating a core of inner strength that will serve as your compass in life's storms. When you respect yourself, you naturally command respect from others. You'll find yourself making decisions aligned with your values, attracting healthier relationships, and pursuing goals that truly matter to you. Moreover, you'll build resilience against the tendency to deny or sugarcoat your situation. No more rationalizing poor treatment or making excuses for others' behavior at your expense. You'll develop a clear-eyed view of reality, allowing you to navigate life's challenges with grace and authenticity. So, what's involved in this transformation? What are the most important steps? First and foremost, it's about confronting your softness. This means taking an honest inventory of your life, your relationships, your career, your personal habits, and identifying where you've been letting things slide. Where have you been saying yes when you meant no? Where have you been settling for less than you deserve? Next, you need to acknowledge the impact this softness has had on your life. This isn't about beating yourself up, but about recognizing cause and effect. How has your reluctance to assert yourself affected your career progression? How has your fear of conflict impacted your relationships? Understanding these connections is crucial for motivation and change. Why are these steps so important, and why have I put them in this order? Because brutal honesty is the foundation of all meaningful change. Without it, we're just rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. By starting with a clear-eyed assessment of where you are, you create a solid platform from which to grow. Moreover, establishing self-respect as the cornerstone of this journey ensures that all subsequent changes are sustainable. When you act from a place of self-respect, you're not just following a set of rules or trying to please others. You're living in alignment with your deepest values and truths. As we move forward, you'll discover powerful strategies for asserting yourself, setting boundaries, and cultivating inner strength. You'll learn how to own it, taking full responsibility for your life and choices. You'll master the art of setting boundaries, ensuring that your relationships reflect your true worth. And you'll discover the liberating power of learning to stop pleasing others at the expense of your own well-being. But remember, this is just the beginning. Each chapter builds on the last, providing you with a comprehensive toolkit for transforming your life from the inside out. The journey ahead will challenge you, but it will also reward you in ways you can't yet imagine. As we conclude this chapter, I want you to sit with a question. What would your life look like if you truly respected yourself? If you honored your needs, spoke your truth, and lived according to your values? Hold that vision in your mind. Let it inspire you. Let it fuel you. Because the path ahead isn't just about stopping being soft. It's about becoming the strongest, most authentic version of yourself. It's about creating a life where you stand tall, command respect, and live with unwavering integrity. Are you ready to take the next step? To delve deeper into the art of owning your life and choices? The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. You've taken that step by confronting the hard truth. Now, let's explore what it truly means to take control of your narrative and shape your destiny. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to Grow to the Top and activate notifications to receive more self-improvement tips that will supercharge your growth. And make sure to give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends. It really helps the channel grow. Thank you for your support. Chapter 2, Own It. You've taken the first step by confronting the hard truth about your softness. Now, it's time to delve deeper into a concept that will fundamentally shift your perspective and set the stage for lasting change. This chapter is about ownership, but not in the way you might think. We're not talking about material possessions or financial assets. We're talking about something far more valuable and transformative. Imagine for a moment that your life is a ship sailing across a vast ocean. For too long, you may have felt like a passenger, tossed about by the waves of circumstance, buffeted by winds beyond your control. But what if I told you that you've been the captain all along? That every decision, every action, every reaction has been steering your course, whether you realized it or not? This is the essence of owning it. It's about recognizing that you are the author of your life story, the architect of your reality. It's a powerful concept, one that can be both liberating and terrifying in equal measure. After all, if you're responsible for everything in your life, that means you can't blame anyone else for your circumstances. But it also means you have the power to change them. Let's explore why this mindset is crucial for building self-respect and assertiveness. When you truly own your life, you become empowered. No longer are you a victim of circumstance, but a creator of your reality. This shift in perspective is like flipping a switch in your brain. Suddenly, obstacles become opportunities. Challenges become chances for growth. Moreover, by eliminating blame, you take full control of your narrative. Think about how much energy we waste pointing fingers, making excuses, or wishing things were different. What if you channeled all that energy into actually making things different? That's the power of ownership. But let's be clear, taking full responsibility for your life isn't about beating yourself up for past mistakes. It's about acknowledging that your choices have led you to where you are now, and that your future choices will determine where you go from here. It's about recognizing the immense power you hold in shaping your destiny. Consider this: every decision you make, no matter how small, is like a pebble dropped into a pond. The ripples spread outward, affecting areas of your life in ways you might not immediately recognize. That choice to hit the snooze button, it ripples into your productivity for the day. The decision to speak up in a meeting, it ripples into your career trajectory. The way you respond to a loved one's criticism, it ripples into the very fabric of your relationships. Embracing this level of responsibility can feel overwhelming at first. You might find yourself thinking, but what about things that are genuinely out of my control? It's a valid question. Of course, we can't control everything that happens to us. Life will always throw curveballs, but we can always control our response. And it's in our responses that we find our true power. This is where the real work begins. It's time to eliminate excuses from your vocabulary. No more "I would but" or "I can't because." These phrases are the language of victimhood, and they have no place in the life of someone who truly owns their existence. Instead, start asking yourself, how can I? Or what do I need to do to make this happen? As you begin to shift your mindset, you'll start to see the impact of your decisions more clearly. This heightened awareness can be a double-edged sword. On one hand, it's empowering to realize how much influence you have over your life. On the other, it means facing the consequences of your choices head-on, even when they're uncomfortable. But here's the beautiful thing about owning your choices. It gives you the power to make different ones. If you don't like where a decision has led you, you have the ability to course correct. This is where true freedom lies. You're no longer bound by past choices or limited by perceived constraints. You're free to chart a new course at any moment. This brings us to a crucial aspect of ownership: rewriting your narrative. For too long, you may have seen yourself as a victim of circumstance, a passenger in your own life. It's time to shift that perspective. You're not a victim, you're a victor. You're not a passenger, you're the captain. Creating this new, empowering story for yourself is a powerful act of self-respect. It's about recognizing your inherent worth and your capacity for growth and change. This doesn't mean ignoring or downplaying past struggles. Rather, it's about reframing them as challenges you've overcome, lessons you've learned, experiences that have shaped you into who you are today. As you embark on this journey of ownership, there are practical steps you can take to reinforce this new mindset. One powerful exercise is to start journaling your daily decisions and their outcomes. This practice helps you see the direct link between your choices and your reality. It makes the abstract concept of owning it tangible and real. Another valuable exercise is to reflect on past instances where you've blamed others or external circumstances for your situation. Take some time to revisit these scenarios, but this time, look for ways you could have influenced the outcome. This isn't about self-blame, but about recognizing your power and agency. As you continue to practice ownership, you'll likely experience a range of outcomes. At the very least, you'll develop an increased awareness of your personal choices and their impact. This alone can be transformative, as it puts you in the driver's seat of your life. With consistent practice, you may find yourself taking ownership of your actions more consistently. This is where real change starts to happen. You'll likely notice improvements in your relationships, your career, and your overall satisfaction with life. You'll feel more in control, more confident in your ability to handle whatever life throws your way. The ultimate outcome, the pinnacle of this journey, is complete empowerment and control over your life. This doesn't mean everything will always go your way, but it does mean that you'll approach life's challenges with a sense of agency and resilience. You'll know, deep in your bones, that you have the power to shape your reality. Of course, this journey isn't without its pitfalls. You may find yourself slipping back into old patterns of blame or victimhood. When this happens, don't berate yourself. Instead, practice mindfulness and reflection. Gently guide your thoughts back to a place of ownership and responsibility. You might also encounter resistance to change, both from within yourself and from others who are used to your old way of being. This is where seeking support can be invaluable. Consider finding a mentor or coach who can provide guidance and accountability as you navigate this transformation. As we conclude this chapter, I want you to sit with the power of what you've learned. Ownership isn't just a concept, it's a way of life. It's about taking the reins of your existence and steering yourself towards the life you truly want. But ownership is just the beginning. As you continue on this journey, you'll discover that true self-respect requires more than just taking responsibility. It requires setting clear boundaries that reflect your values and worth. Are you ready to draw the line and stand your ground? The next chapter will show you how to create a fortress of self-respect that no one can breach. Chapter 3: Set Boundaries. Imagine a world where your personal space is sacred, where your time is truly your own, and where your values are respected without question. This isn't a far-off utopia. It's a reality that's within your grasp. But to reach it, you need to master a crucial skill, one that many of us have neglected for far too long. You've taken ownership of your life, and that's a powerful first step. But now it's time to define the parameters of that life. It's time to draw lines in the sand, to create a framework that protects your well-being and demands respect from others. In short, it's time to set boundaries. But what exactly are boundaries? They're not walls that shut others out, nor are they flimsy suggestions that can be ignored at will. Think of boundaries as the invisible force field that surrounds you, defining where you end and others begin. They're the rules of engagement for your life, the standards you set for how you'll be treated and what you'll accept. Setting boundaries is an act of self-respect, a declaration of your worth. When you establish clear limits, you're essentially saying, "This is who I am, this is what I stand for, and this is how I expect to be treated." It's a powerful message, both to yourself and to those around you. But here's the thing about boundaries. They're not just about keeping negative influences out. They're also about creating space for what truly matters to you. By defining your limits, you're carving out room for your values, your goals, and your well-being to flourish. So why is this so crucial for building self-respect and assertiveness? Well, think about it this way. Every time you allow someone to cross a line, to disrespect your time, your space, or your values, you're sending a message. And that message is, "My needs aren't that important." Over time, this erodes your self-worth and makes it harder to stand up for yourself. On the flip side, when you consistently enforce your boundaries, you're reinforcing your own value. You're telling yourself and the world that you matter, that your needs are valid, and that you deserve respect. This builds a foundation of self-respect that becomes unshakable over time. Moreover, clear boundaries encourage mutual respect in relationships. When others know where your lines are drawn, it eliminates guesswork and reduces conflict. It creates a framework for healthy interactions where both parties understand and respect each other's limits. But how do you go about defining these all-important limits? It starts with a deep dive into your core values. What principles guide your life? What beliefs are non-negotiable for you? These are the bedrock upon which your boundaries will be built. Take some time to reflect on what truly matters to you. Is it honesty, personal space, time for self-care? Once you've identified these core values, you can start to establish your non-negotiables, the lines that, when crossed, signal a clear violation of your boundaries. Remember, your boundaries are unique to you. What feels like a violation to you might be perfectly acceptable to someone else, and vice versa. That's why it's so important to get clear on your own values and limits, rather than adopting someone else's. Now, here's where many people stumble: communicating these boundaries. It's one thing to know your limits in your own mind. It's another to express them clearly to others. This is where assertiveness comes into play. Communicating boundaries requires clear, direct language. It's not about hinting or hoping others will pick up on subtle cues. It's about stating your needs and limits in no uncertain terms. This doesn't mean being aggressive or confrontational. You can be firm and respectful at the same time. For example, instead of saying, "I'd prefer if you didn't call me so late," you might say, "I don't take calls after 9 p.m. I'd be happy to talk tomorrow during the day." See the difference? The second statement is clear, direct, and leaves no room for misinterpretation. Of course, when you start setting boundaries, you're likely to encounter some pushback. People who are used to having unfettered access to your time and energy might resist these new limits. This is where your resolve will be tested. Remember, other people's discomfort with your boundaries is not your responsibility. You have the right to set limits that protect your well-being. When faced with pushback, restate your boundary calmly and firmly. You don't need to justify or explain yourself excessively. But setting boundaries is only half the battle. The real test comes in enforcing them consistently. This is where many people falter. They set a boundary, but then let it slide when it's challenged. This sends a mixed message and ultimately undermines your efforts. Consistency is key when it comes to boundaries. If you've said you don't take work calls on weekends, then don't take work calls on weekends, even if it's your boss calling, even if it seems important. Your boundaries need to apply across the board to be effective. When your boundaries are violated, and they will be, especially at first, it's crucial to address it immediately. This doesn't mean flying off the handle or burning bridges. It means calmly restating your boundary and, if necessary, outlining the consequences of future violations. For instance, if someone consistently shows up late to your meetings, you might say, "I've mentioned before that punctuality is important to me. In the future, if you're more than 15 minutes late, I'll need to reschedule." Then, follow through if it happens again. Now, let's talk about some practical exercises to help you flex your boundary-setting muscles. One powerful technique is role-playing boundary-setting scenarios. Find a trusted friend or family member and practice expressing your boundaries in different situations. This helps you get comfortable with the language and prepares you for real-life encounters. Another valuable exercise is writing a personal boundaries manifesto. This is a document where you clearly outline your core values, your non-negotiables, and the specific boundaries you're setting in different areas of your life. Having this written down can serve as a powerful reminder and reference point as you navigate your new boundary-rich life. As you embark on this boundary-setting journey, it's important to understand the potential outcomes. At the very least, you're likely to see improved communication with others. When you're clear about your limits, it reduces misunderstandings and sets the stage for more honest, open dialogue. With consistent practice, you may find your relationships growing stronger and more respectful. People who truly value you will appreciate the clarity your boundaries provide. Those who don't respect your boundaries will naturally fall away, leaving you with a circle of relationships built on mutual respect and understanding. The ultimate outcome, the pinnacle of this boundary-setting practice, is a life that's fully aligned with your personal values and self-worth. Imagine moving through your days with a deep sense of peace, knowing that your time, energy, and space are protected. Imagine relationships where you feel valued and respected. Imagine the confidence that comes from knowing you can handle any situation with grace and assertiveness. Of course, this journey isn't without its challenges. You may find some of your boundaries being ignored or challenged repeatedly. When this happens, it's important to reinforce your limits with clear consequences, and then follow through on those consequences if the behavior continues. You might also grapple with feelings of guilt as you start to set firmer boundaries, especially if you're used to being a people pleaser. In these moments, remind yourself of the importance of your boundaries. Remember that by taking care of yourself, you're actually becoming more capable of showing up fully in your relationships and responsibilities. As we wrap up this chapter, take a moment to reflect on the power of boundaries. They're not just lines in the sand. They're the framework for a life of self-respect and mutual understanding. They're the invisible shield that protects your well-being and allows your true self to flourish. But setting boundaries is just one piece of the puzzle. As you continue on this journey of self-respect, you'll discover that there's another habit holding you back, one that's so ingrained you might not even realize its impact. Are you ready to break free from the chains of approval seeking and step into your true power? The next chapter will show you how to liberate yourself from this silent saboteur and embrace a life of authentic self-expression. Chapter 4. Stop pleasing. Have you ever felt like you're living your life on someone else's terms? Like you're constantly bending over backward to meet the expectations of others, often at the expense of your own needs and desires? If so, you're not alone. This chapter is about breaking free from a habit that's so deeply ingrained in many of us that we often don't even realize we're doing it. It's a habit that masquerades as kindness, as being a team player, as being nice, but in reality, it's a silent saboteur of your self-respect and personal growth. It's time to pull back the curtain on this insidious behavior and reclaim your power. But what exactly is this habit we're talking about? It's the compulsion to please others, to seek their approval at all costs. It's the voice in your head that says, if I just make everyone else happy, then I'll be happy too. It's the belief that your worth is determined by how much others like you or approve of you. This people-pleasing tendency might seem harmless on the surface. After all, what's wrong with wanting to make others happy? The problem arises when this desire to please others becomes your primary driving force, overshadowing your own needs, values, and aspirations. Think about it. How often have you said yes to something you really wanted to say no to? How many times have you gone along with someone else's plans, even when they didn't align with your own desires? Each time you do this, you're essentially telling yourself that your needs are less important than someone else's approval. This constant prioritization of others' needs over your own is a form of self-neglect. It's like trying to fill everyone else's cup while leaving your own empty. Over time, this leads to resentment, burnout, and a weakened sense of self. It's a direct assault on your self-respect and assertiveness. So why is breaking this habit so crucial for building self-respect and assertiveness? Because when you stop seeking constant approval from others, you start to prioritize yourself. You begin to make decisions based on your own values and needs rather than what you think will please others. This shift is transformative. When you prioritize yourself, you're sending a powerful message to yourself and to others that your needs matter. This doesn't mean becoming selfish or disregarding others entirely. It means finding a healthy balance where your needs are given equal consideration. Moreover, breaking the people-pleasing habit strengthens your self-image. When you're constantly seeking external validation, your sense of self-worth becomes dependent on others' opinions. But when you start to validate yourself, you build a more stable, resilient self-image that isn't swayed by every passing judgment or criticism. Now, let's delve deeper into the people-pleasing trap. How can you recognize if you're caught in it? Look for signs like difficulty saying no, feeling responsible for others' emotions, apologizing excessively, or feeling guilty when you put your own needs first. If these sound familiar, you might be stuck in the people-pleasing cycle. The costs of always saying yes are often hidden but significant. You might think you're keeping the peace or being helpful, but in reality, you're sacrificing your time, energy, and sometimes even your integrity. You're teaching others that your boundaries are flexible and that your needs are secondary. This can lead to relationships where you're taken for granted or taken advantage of. So how do you break free from this trap? It starts with learning to prioritize yourself. This doesn't mean becoming selfish or inconsiderate. It means recognizing that your needs are just as valid and important as anyone else's. A crucial skill in this process is learning to say no. This simple word can be surprisingly difficult for people-pleasers to utter. But remember, every time you say no to something that doesn't align with your values or priorities, you're saying yes to yourself. Start small. Practice saying no in low-stakes situations. Maybe it's declining an invitation to an event you're not interested in, or refusing to take on an extra task at work when you're already overloaded. As you become more comfortable with saying no, you'll find it easier to do in more significant situations. Of course, prioritizing yourself doesn't mean disregarding your relationships. It's about finding a balance between self-care and maintaining healthy connections with others. Remember, when you take care of yourself, you're actually in a better position to show up fully in your relationships. As you shift away from seeking external approval, you'll need to build your internal validation muscles. This means learning to approve of yourself, to trust your own judgment, and to find satisfaction in your own accomplishments without needing others to validate them. One powerful way to do this is through daily affirmations of self-worth. These aren't empty platitudes, but genuine acknowledgments of your value, your strengths, and your right to prioritize your own needs. Start each day by looking in the mirror and telling yourself, "My needs matter. I am worthy of respect and consideration." Reducing your dependency on external approval is a gradual process. Start by noticing when you're seeking validation from others. Are you constantly checking for likes on social media? Do you change your opinion to match those around you? Once you're aware of these behaviors, you can start to challenge them. Cultivating self-acceptance is another crucial aspect of building internal validation. This means embracing all parts of yourself, your strengths and your flaws, your successes and your failures. Remember, you don't need to be perfect to be worthy of respect and consideration. As you embark on this journey of breaking the people-pleasing habit, it's important to understand the potential outcomes. At the very least, you're likely to experience increased self-awareness. You'll start to recognize your people-pleasing tendencies more quickly, allowing you to make conscious choices rather than reacting out of habit. With consistent practice, you may find yourself developing greater confidence in your decision-making. When you're not constantly second-guessing yourself or worrying about others' approval, you can trust your own judgment more fully. This confidence will spill over into all areas of your life, from your personal relationships to your professional endeavors. The ultimate outcome, the pinnacle of this journey, is a life driven by your personal values rather than others' expectations. Imagine moving through your days with a clear sense of purpose, making choices that align with your true self rather than what you think others want from you. This is a life of authenticity and self-respect. Of course, breaking the people-pleasing habit isn't without its challenges. You may find yourself relapsing into old patterns, especially in stressful situations or with people who are used to your accommodating behavior. When this happens, don't berate yourself. Instead, gently remind yourself of your goals and why breaking this habit is important to you. You might also grapple with a fear of rejection as you start to prioritize your own needs more. This fear is normal, but remember that true healthy relationships can withstand honesty and boundary setting. Focus on self-validation techniques to bolster your confidence during these times. As we conclude this chapter, take a moment to reflect on the power of breaking free from the people-pleasing trap. By prioritizing your own needs and building internal validation, you're not just improving your own life, you're setting an example for others and creating space for more authentic, balanced relationships. But freeing yourself from the need for constant approval is just one step on the path to true self-respect. As you continue this journey, you'll discover that there's another crucial skill you need to develop, one that will allow you to express your newfound self-prioritization in a clear, confident manner. Are you ready to find your voice and make it heard? The next chapter will unveil the secret to communicating with unwavering assertiveness, even in the face of opposition. Chapter 5, Speak Up. Have you ever felt a knot in your stomach, words caught in your throat, as you struggled to express what you really wanted to say? That moment when you know you should speak up, but something holds you back? It's a common experience, one that can leave us feeling frustrated, powerless, and diminished. But what if I told you that this very act, the act of speaking up, holds the key to unlocking a new level of self-respect and personal power? That by finding your voice and using it effectively, You could transform not just your relationships, but your entire life. This chapter is about more than just talking. It's about discovering a way of communicating that honors your needs, expresses your truth, and commands respect from others. It's about breaking free from the chains of silence that have held you back and stepping into your full power. But why is this so crucial for building self-respect and assertiveness? Think about it. Every time you swallow your words, every time you nod in agreement when you actually disagree, you're sending a powerful message, not to others, but to yourself. You're saying, my thoughts don't matter, my feelings aren't important. Over time, this silent acquiescence erodes your self-worth from the inside out. On the flip side, when you speak up, when you express your needs, share your opinions, and set your boundaries clearly, you're reinforcing your own value. You're telling yourself and the world that your voice matters, that you deserve to be heard. This act of self-advocacy is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. Moreover, finding your voice helps you avoid the internal frustration that comes from keeping the peace at your own expense. How many times have you agreed to something you didn't want, only to seethe with resentment later? By speaking up in the moment, you release that potential frustration and create space for honest, authentic interactions. Now, let's talk about the power of assertiveness. Assertive communication is the golden mean between passive silence and aggressive confrontation. It's about expressing your thoughts, feelings, and needs clearly and directly while still respecting the rights and feelings of others. Understanding assertive communication is crucial. It's not about dominating conversations or forcing your opinions on others. Instead, it's about standing firm in your truth, expressing yourself clearly, and being open to dialogue. Assertiveness says, this is what I think, feel, need. What about you? It invites conversation rather than shutting it down. It's important to differentiate assertiveness from aggression or passivity. Aggression steamrolls over others' rights and feelings, while passivity allows others to steamroll over you. Assertiveness, on the other hand, maintains a balance. It respects both your rights and the rights of others. One of the biggest obstacles to speaking up is the fear of conflict. Many of us have been conditioned to avoid conflict at all costs, seeing it as inherently negative or destructive. But what if we could reframe conflict as an opportunity for growth, for deeper understanding, for positive change? Addressing avoidance behaviors is key to overcoming this fear. Notice when you're tempted to stay silent to keep the peace. Ask yourself, what am I afraid will happen if I speak up? Often our fears are exaggerated, and the reality of expressing ourselves is far less scary than we imagine. Reframing conflict as an opportunity can shift your entire perspective. Instead of seeing disagreements as threats, view them as chances to learn, to clarify your position, to find creative solutions. Remember, some of the most significant progress in human history has come from people willing to speak up and challenge the status quo. Now, let's delve into the practical aspects of expressing your needs and opinions. Clear communication is an art, but it's one that can be learned and refined with practice. Start with I statements. I feel, I think, I need. This puts the focus on your experience rather than placing blame or making accusations. Be specific and direct. Instead of hinting or hoping others will read between the lines, state your needs or opinions clearly. For example, rather than saying, it would be nice if someone helped with the housework, try, I need help with the housework. Can we divide the tasks more evenly? When handling disagreements, remember that respect is key. You can disagree with someone's ideas or actions without attacking them personally. Listen actively to the other person's perspective, even if you don't agree with it. This doesn't mean you have to change your mind, but it shows that you value their right to their opinion, just as you value your own. Practical exercises can help you develop your assertiveness skills. Start by practicing assertive communication in safe environments. This could be with a trusted friend, a therapist, or even in front of a mirror. Role-play different scenarios and practice expressing your needs and opinions clearly and respectfully. Another valuable exercise is to reflect on past conflicts where you didn't speak up. How would you handle those situations differently now? What assertive responses could you have used? This reflection helps you prepare for future situations and builds your confidence in your ability to handle them assertively. As you embark on this journey of finding and using your voice, it's important to understand the potential outcomes. At the very least, you're likely to see improved communication skills. You'll become more adept at expressing yourself clearly and listening actively to others. With consistent practice, you may find your relationships growing stronger through increased honesty and openness. When you're able to express your true thoughts and feelings and invite others to do the same, it creates a foundation for deeper, more authentic connections. The ultimate outcome, the pinnacle of this journey, is a life where your voice is not only heard, but respected. Imagine moving through your days with the confidence that you can express yourself effectively in any situation. Imagine relationships where your needs and opinions are valued and considered. This is the power of speaking up. Of course, this journey isn't without its challenges. You may encounter situations where your newfound assertiveness is misinterpreted as aggression. When this happens, it's important to clarify your intentions. Remind others and yourself that assertiveness is about mutual respect, not domination. You might also grapple with a fear of conflict escalation as you start to speak up more. This is where de-escalation techniques come in handy. Practice staying calm, using a neutral tone of voice, and focusing on the issue at hand rather than getting pulled into emotional arguments. Remember, finding your voice is a process. There will be times when you stumble, when the words don't come out quite right, or when you fall back into old patterns of silence. That's okay. Each attempt, each time you push yourself to speak up, is a step forward. Celebrate these small victories and learn from the setbacks. As we conclude this chapter, take a moment to reflect on the power of your voice. By learning to speak up assertively, you're not just improving your communication skills, you're reclaiming your power, reinforcing your self-worth, and creating space for more authentic, respectful relationships in all areas of your life. But speaking up is just one piece of the puzzle. As you continue on this journey of self-respect and personal growth, you'll discover that there's another crucial element you need to embrace, one that might seem counterintuitive at first. Are you ready to step out of your comfort zone and into a realm of unprecedented growth? The next chapter will reveal the surprising secret to building unshakable strength and resilience in the face of life's challenges. Chapter 6. Embrace discomfort. What if I told you that the key to unlocking your full potential lies not in seeking comfort, but in actively pursuing discomfort? It might sound counterintuitive, even a bit masochistic. After all, we're hardwired to seek pleasure and avoid pain. But what if this very instinct, the one that's kept our species alive for millennia, is now holding us back from truly thriving? This chapter is about challenging that instinct. It's about rewiring your brain to see discomfort not as a threat, but as an opportunity for growth, for resilience, for becoming the strongest version of yourself. But before we dive into the how, let's explore the why. Think about the times in your life when you've grown the most. Chances are, they weren't times of ease and comfort. They were times of challenge, of struggle, of pushing beyond what you thought you were capable of. That's because growth doesn't happen in the comfort zone. It happens at the edges, in that space where we're stretched just beyond our current capabilities. This is where self-respect comes into play. Every time you face a challenge head-on, every time you push through discomfort instead of retreating, you're sending a powerful message to yourself. You're saying, I am capable, I am strong, I can handle this. Over time, this builds a deep, unshakable self-respect that no external validation can match. Moreover, embracing discomfort builds resilience. In a world that's constantly changing, resilience isn't just a nice-to-have, it's a necessity. The ability to adapt, to bounce back from setbacks, to keep moving forward in the face of adversity, these are the qualities that will determine your success and satisfaction in life. But let's be clear, We're not talking about needless suffering or reckless risk-taking. We're talking about intentional discomfort, the kind that pushes you to grow, to learn, to become better. It's about expanding your comfort zone, not obliterating it entirely. So, what exactly is this comfort zone we keep talking about? It's the psychological state where things feel familiar, safe, and easy. It's where we have our routines, our habits, our go-to responses. And while there's nothing inherently wrong with comfort, staying there permanently is a recipe for stagnation. The comfort zone is a trap because it feels so good. It's seductive in its ease. But here's the thing. Life doesn't happen in the comfort zone. Real living, the kind that fills you with excitement, that makes you feel truly alive, happens when you step beyond it. The benefits of stepping outside your comfort zone are numerous. You develop new skills, gain confidence, become more creative, and learn to handle uncertainty. Each time you push your boundaries, your comfort zone expands. What once seemed impossible becomes manageable, even easy. But how do you actually go about facing challenges head-on? It starts with identifying growth opportunities. These are situations that scare you a little, but excite you a lot. Maybe it's public speaking, learning a new skill, or having that difficult conversation you've been putting off. The key is to look for areas where you feel resistance. That's often a sign that growth is waiting on the other side. Once you've identified these opportunities, it's time to develop strategies for pushing your limits. Start small. If public speaking terrifies you, don't start by giving a TED Talk. Begin by speaking up more in meetings, then progress to presenting to small groups, and so on. The key is consistent, incremental progress. Another powerful strategy is to reframe how you think about challenges. Instead of seeing them as threats, try to view them as opportunities to learn and grow. Ask yourself, what can I gain from this experience? Even if things don't go perfectly, you'll always gain valuable insights and experience. Building mental toughness is crucial in this process. Mental toughness isn't about being hard or unfeeling. It's about developing the resilience to keep going when things get tough. It's about bouncing back from setbacks, learning from failures, and maintaining a positive outlook in the face of adversity. One way to develop resilience is through consistent exposure to manageable stress. This could be through regular exercise, taking on challenging projects at work, or purposely putting yourself in situations that make you slightly uncomfortable. Over time, you'll find that your capacity to handle stress increases. Reframing discomfort as progress is another powerful tool. When you feel that resistance, that urge to retreat to your comfort zone, remind yourself that this feeling is the sensation of growth. It's your comfort zone expanding, your capabilities increasing. This shift in perspective can turn discomfort from something to be avoided into something to be embraced. Let's talk about some practical exercises to help you embrace discomfort. One effective approach is to set small, challenging goals regularly. These should be goals that push you just beyond your current capabilities. Maybe it's striking up a conversation with a stranger each day, or trying a new activity each week. The specific goal doesn't matter as much as the act of consistently pushing your boundaries. Another valuable exercise is to reflect on past discomforts and their outcomes. Think about times in your life when you faced a challenge or did something that scared you. How did you feel afterwards? What did you learn? How did you grow? This reflection can help you build confidence in your ability to handle discomfort and reinforce the benefits of stepping outside your comfort zone. As you embark on this journey of embracing discomfort, it's important to understand the potential outcomes. At the very least, you're likely to experience increased adaptability. You'll become more flexible, better able to handle change and uncertainty. This alone is a valuable skill in our rapidly changing world. With consistent practice, you may find yourself developing greater resilience in the face of adversity. Challenges that once would have derailed you become manageable. You'll bounce back faster from setbacks and maintain a more positive outlook even in difficult times. The ultimate outcome, the pinnacle of this journey, is a life of continuous growth and self-improvement. Imagine waking up each day excited about the challenges ahead, confident in your ability to handle whatever comes your way. Imagine constantly evolving, constantly becoming a better version of yourself. This is the power of embracing discomfort. Of course, this journey isn't without its challenges. You may find yourself feeling overwhelmed at times, especially when facing bigger challenges. When this happens, remember to break things down into smaller, manageable tasks. Focus on taking one small step at a time. You might also grapple with a fear of failure as you push yourself into new territories. This is where it's crucial to shift your focus from perfection to learning. Every experience, whether it goes as planned or not, is an opportunity to learn and grow. Embrace the process, not just the outcome. Remember, embracing discomfort is a skill, and like any skill, it takes practice. There will be times when you retreat to your comfort zone, when the challenge seems too great. That's okay. What matters is that you keep trying, keep pushing, keep growing. As we conclude this chapter, take a moment to reflect on the power of discomfort. By learning to embrace it, you're not just building resilience and self-respect, you're opening yourself up to a life of continuous growth and fulfillment. You're becoming the architect of your own evolution. But embracing discomfort is just one piece of the puzzle. As you continue on this journey of self-respect and personal growth, you'll discover that there's another crucial step you need to take. One that might require you to make some difficult decisions. Are you ready to create the space you need to truly thrive? The next chapter will reveal the often overlooked secret to cultivating an environment that nourishes your growth and reinforces your self-respect. Cut toxicity. Imagine your life as a garden. You've been tending to it, nurturing the seeds of self-respect and personal growth that we've planted in the previous chapters. But what if I told you that no matter how much care you give these seedlings, they might never truly flourish? That there's something in your garden that's quietly choking the life out of your efforts? This chapter is about identifying and removing those hidden weeds, the toxic influences that have taken root in your life. It's about creating the space and conditions necessary for your self-respect to not just survive, but thrive. But before we start pulling weeds, let's understand why this process is so crucial. Think about the last time you left a conversation feeling drained, doubting yourself, or somehow lesser than when you entered it. Or perhaps recall a moment when your inner voice was particularly harsh, berating you for a minor mistake. These are the subtle, often overlooked signs of toxicity in your life. And while they might seem insignificant in the moment, their cumulative effect can be devastating to your self-respect and personal growth. Toxicity, whether it comes from external relationships or our own internal dialogue, acts like a corrosive agent on our self-worth. It eats away at our confidence, undermines our achievements, and keeps us stuck in patterns of self-doubt and hesitation. By tolerating these negative influences, we're essentially telling ourselves that we don't deserve better, and that's a message that's fundamentally at odds with the self-respect we're trying to build. But here's the good news. By identifying and removing these toxic elements, we create space. Space for positivity, for growth, for the kind of self-respect that can weather any storm. It's like clearing the weeds from our garden. Suddenly, our flowers have room to bloom, to reach for the sun without competition or hindrance. So, how do we go about identifying these toxic influences? It starts with becoming a keen observer of your own life. Pay attention to how you feel after interactions with different people. Do some leave you feeling energized and inspired, while others leave you feeling drained or doubting yourself? These emotional responses are important clues. Harmful relationships aren't always obvious. Sometimes, toxicity wears the mask of friendship or even love. It might be the friend who's always there for you, but only to commiserate about how unfair life is, or the partner who says they support your dreams, but subtly undermines your efforts. These relationships can be particularly insidious because they often come with genuine affection, making them harder to recognize and address. But external relationships aren't the only source of toxicity we need to be wary of. Often, our harshest critic lives right between our own ears. Negative self-talk can be just as damaging as any external influence, perhaps even more so, because it's with us 24/7. Do you find yourself engaging in harsh self-criticism? Do you downplay your achievements or fixate on your mistakes? These are signs of toxic self-talk that need to be addressed. Eliminating negative self-talk is a crucial step in cutting toxicity from your life. It starts with becoming aware of your inner dialogue. Pay attention to the voice in your head. What is it saying? How does it make you feel? Once you're aware of these thought patterns, you can start to challenge them. When you catch yourself in negative self-talk, pause. Ask yourself, would I speak to a friend this way? Is this thought actually true, or is it just a habitual response? By questioning these thoughts, you start to loosen their hold on you. The next step is to replace these negative thoughts with more supportive ones. This isn't about false positivity, but about speaking to yourself with the same kindness and understanding you'd offer a good friend. Developing a supportive inner dialogue takes practice. Start by consciously offering yourself words of encouragement throughout the day. Celebrate your successes, no matter how small. When you face setbacks, respond with compassion rather than criticism. Over time, this supportive voice will become more natural, drowning out the negative one. As you work on eliminating internal and external sources of toxicity, it's equally important to actively create a positive environment. This means surrounding yourself with people who support your growth, who celebrate your successes, and who offer constructive feedback rather than criticism. Look for relationships that leave you feeling energized, inspired, and valued. These are the people who will water the seeds of your self-respect, who will help you grow into the best version of yourself. It might mean seeking out new friendships or strengthening existing positive relationships. But creating a positive environment isn't just about other people. It's also about the habits and practices you cultivate in your daily life. This could mean establishing a morning routine that sets a positive tone for the day, engaging in hobbies that bring you joy and fulfillment, or creating a living space that reflects and supports your values and goals. Now let's talk about some practical exercises to help you in this process of cutting toxicity. One powerful tool is conducting a relationship audit. Take some time to reflect on the key relationships in your life. How do you feel after spending time with each person? Do they support your goals and values, or do they undermine them? This audit can help you identify which relationships might need some boundaries and which ones might be better left behind. Another valuable practice is the use of daily positive affirmations. These are short, positive statements that reinforce your self-worth and counter negative self-talk. They might feel awkward or inauthentic at first, but with consistent practice, they can help rewire your internal dialogue. Start each day by looking in the mirror and saying something positive about yourself, something you're proud of, a quality you admire in yourself, or a goal you're working towards. As you embark on this journey of cutting toxicity, it's important to understand the potential outcomes. At the very least, you're likely to experience reduced stress as you remove negative influences from your life. You might find yourself feeling lighter, more energized, and better able to focus on your goals. With consistent effort, you may create a supportive and nurturing environment for yourself. Imagine being surrounded by people who believe in you, who push you to be your best self, and who offer genuine support when you face challenges. Imagine an inner dialogue that's encouraging and kind, that helps you bounce back from setbacks rather than dwelling on them. The ultimate outcome, the pinnacle of this journey, is a life filled with positivity and self-respect. Imagine waking up each day feeling confident in your worth, secure in your relationships, and excited about your future. This is the power of cutting toxicity from your life. Of course, this process isn't without its challenges. You might find it difficult to identify toxicity, especially if you've been living with it for a long time. When this happens, don't hesitate to seek feedback from trusted friends or a therapist. Sometimes an outside perspective can help us see patterns we've become blind to. You might also encounter resistance to change, both from within yourself and from others who are used to the status quo. Remember, change can be uncomfortable, but it's necessary for growth. Focus on the long-term benefits of creating a more positive environment for yourself. Visualize the life you want to create, and let that vision pull you forward when the going gets tough. As we conclude this chapter, take a moment to reflect on the power of cutting toxicity from your life. By removing negative influences and cultivating a positive environment, you're not just improving your day-to-day experience, you're creating the conditions for your self-respect to flourish, for your true self to emerge and thrive. But removing toxicity is just one part of the equation. As you continue on this journey of self-respect and personal growth, you'll discover that there's another crucial element you need to master, one that will determine whether the changes you're making stick or slip away. Are you ready to discover the secret to making your newfound self-respect unshakable? The next chapter will reveal the often overlooked key to turning your efforts into lasting transformation. Stay firm. You've come a long way on this journey of self-respect and personal growth. You've learned to own your life, set boundaries, speak up, embrace discomfort, and cut toxicity. But here's a truth that many self-help books don't tell you. Knowing what to do is only half the battle. The real challenge, the true test of your transformation, lies in what comes next. Imagine you're building a house. You've laid a solid foundation, erected strong walls, and put on a sturdy roof. But what happens if you stop there? Without constant maintenance, even the strongest structure will eventually crumble. The same is true for the self-respect and assertiveness you've been building. This chapter is about the mortar that holds everything together, the invisible force that turns fleeting changes into lasting transformation. It's about a quality that's often overlooked in our quick-fix culture, but one that's absolutely essential for long-term success and fulfillment. But what exactly is this quality? What's the secret ingredient that can make or break your journey towards unshakable self-respect? It's something deceptively simple, yet profoundly powerful: consistency. Consistency might not sound as exciting as setting boundaries or cutting toxicity. It doesn't have the immediate thrill of speaking up or embracing discomfort. But make no mistake, consistency is the unsung hero of personal growth, the quiet force that turns intention into reality. Think about it. How many times have you started a new habit or made a resolution only to abandon it a few weeks later? How often have you asserted yourself once, felt great about it, but then slipped back into old patterns of acquiescence? This is the challenge that consistency addresses. Consistency is the foundation upon which lasting self-respect is built. It's not enough to stand up for yourself once or twice. It's not enough to set boundaries and then let them slide when they're tested. True self-respect comes from consistently honoring your worth day in and day out, even when it's difficult, even when no one else is watching. Moreover, consistency demonstrates a deep commitment to personal growth. It shows that you're not just dabbling in self-improvement, but that you're truly dedicated to becoming the best version of yourself. This commitment itself is an act of self-respect, a declaration that you're worth the ongoing effort. But why does persistence matter so much? Because change, real, lasting change, doesn't happen overnight. It's the result of small, consistent actions compounded over time. Each time you honor your boundaries, each time you speak up for yourself, each time you choose self-respect over people-pleasing, you're reinforcing new neural pathways in your brain. You're literally rewiring yourself to make self-respect your default mode. Of course, this journey isn't without its setbacks. There will be days when you slip back into old habits, when the voice of self-doubt seems louder than ever. The key is not to let these setbacks derail you completely. Consistency isn't about perfection. It's about getting back on track as quickly as possible when you inevitably stumble. So how do you maintain your stance, especially when faced with pressure to revert to old patterns? One powerful strategy is to connect your actions to your values and long-term vision. When you're tempted to let a boundary slide or to stay silent instead of speaking up, remind yourself of why you started this journey in the first place. What kind of person do you want to be? What kind of life do you want to live? Let these bigger picture considerations guide your moment-to-moment decisions. Another crucial aspect of staying firm is learning to handle the pressure to revert. This pressure can come from others who are used to your old ways of being, or from your own internal resistance to change. When faced with this pressure, take a deep breath and reconnect with your commitment to self-respect. Remember that discomfort is often a sign of growth, not a signal to retreat. Reinforcing your new mindset requires daily practice. This might involve starting your day with positive affirmations, journaling about your progress, or simply taking a moment to acknowledge and celebrate your small wins. These daily practices serve as constant reminders of your commitment to self-respect and help to solidify your new patterns of thinking and behaving. Maintaining a long-term vision is equally important. Where do you see yourself in a year, 5 years, or 10 years if you continue on this path of self-respect and assertiveness? Visualize this future self regularly. Let it inspire and motivate you, especially on days when consistency feels challenging. Now, let's talk about some practical exercises to help you stay firm in your commitment. One powerful tool is creating a consistency tracker. This could be a simple calendar where you mark off each day you've honored your boundaries, spoken up for yourself, or engaged in self-respecting behaviors. Seeing your streak of consistent days can be incredibly motivating and can help you identify patterns in your behavior. Another valuable practice is to reflect on your daily wins and areas for improvement. Each evening, take a few minutes to jot down instances where you successfully practiced self-respect, as well as moments where you could have done better. This reflection helps reinforce positive behaviors and identifies areas where you might need to focus more attention. As you embark on this journey of consistency, it's important to understand the potential outcomes. At the very least, you're likely to see steady progress in your personal growth. You'll notice that self-respecting behaviors become more natural, requiring less conscious effort over time. With ongoing commitment, you may develop stronger resolve and self-discipline. You'll find yourself better able to stick to your decisions and maintain your boundaries, even in challenging situations. This increased self-discipline often spills over into other areas of your life, leading to improvements in your career, relationships, and personal pursuits. The ultimate outcome, the pinnacle of this journey, is a life of unwavering self-respect and achievement. Imagine moving through your days with an unshakable sense of your own worth. Imagine consistently honoring your boundaries, speaking your truth, and living in alignment with your values. This is the power of staying firm in your commitment to self-respect. Of course, this journey of consistency isn't without its challenges. You may find yourself losing motivation at times, especially when progress seems slow or setbacks occur. When this happens, it's crucial to revisit your goals and reasons for embarking on this journey. Reconnect with your why. What drove you to seek greater self-respect in the first place? Let this motivation reignite your commitment. Inconsistency is another common pitfall. You might find yourself slipping back into old patterns, especially during times of stress or when faced with familiar triggers. This is where setting reminders and finding accountability partners can be invaluable. Use phone alerts, sticky notes, or any other method that works for you to remind yourself of your commitment throughout the day. Consider sharing your goals with a trusted friend or family member who can check in on your progress and offer support when needed. Remember, staying firm isn't about being rigid or inflexible. It's about maintaining a consistent commitment to your own worth and well-being, even as circumstances change and challenges arise. It's about creating a new normal where self-respect is your default setting, not something you have to consciously remember to do. As we conclude this chapter, take a moment to reflect on the power of consistency in your journey towards unshakable self-respect. By committing to stay firm in your new habits and mindset, you're not just making temporary changes, you're fundamentally reshaping your relationship with yourself and with the world around you. But consistency is just one piece of the puzzle. As you continue on this path of self-respect and personal growth, you'll discover that there's one final step you need to take, one that will elevate your journey from personal transformation to something much bigger. Are you ready to step into your full power and make a lasting impact? The next chapter will reveal the ultimate expression of self-respect and show you how to leave a legacy that extends far beyond yourself. Chapter 9, Stand Tall. You've come a long way. Through the pages of this book, you've confronted hard truths, taken ownership of your life, set boundaries, found your voice, embraced discomfort, cut toxicity, and committed to consistency. But now, as we reach the final chapter, it's time to bring all of these elements together into a powerful, unified whole. This chapter is about more than just maintaining what you've learned. It's about embodying it, living it, breathing it. It's about transforming from someone who practices self-respect to someone who radiates it from every fiber of their being. This is where the real magic happens. Think back to when you first picked up this book. Perhaps you felt small, unsure, easily swayed by others' opinions. Now imagine a version of yourself that stands tall, not just physically, but in every aspect of your life. A version that carries an aura of quiet confidence, that commands respect without having to demand it. This is the self you're stepping into now. But what does it really mean to stand tall? It's not about puffing out your chest or speaking loudly. It's about aligning your inner world with your outer actions. It's about carrying yourself with dignity and purpose, even when no one is watching. It's about knowing your worth so deeply that it infuses every interaction, every decision, every moment of your life. Let's talk about how the lessons you've learned throughout this book can empower you to stand tall. Remember when we discussed owning your life and choices? That ownership now becomes a source of strength. No longer are you at the mercy of circumstances or other people's opinions. You stand firm in the knowledge that you are the author of your own story. The boundaries you've set, they're not just lines in the sand anymore. They're the foundation upon which you build your interactions with the world. You no longer hesitate or second-guess yourself when someone pushes against these boundaries. You stand tall in your right to have them, to enforce them, to live by them. Finding your voice has given you the power to express your truth. Now, as you stand tall, that voice becomes clearer, more resonant. You speak not just with your words, but with your presence. Your body language, your tone, your energy, all of it aligns to communicate your self-respect and worthiness. Embracing discomfort has built your resilience. Now, as you stand tall, challenges don't make you shrink or cower. You face them head-on, knowing that each obstacle is an opportunity for growth. Your newfound strength allows you to stand firm even when the ground beneath you seems shaky. Cutting toxicity has cleared the way for positivity and growth. As you stand tall, you naturally attract people and situations that align with your values. Your strong sense of self-worth acts as a filter, allowing in only what serves your highest good. And the consistency you've cultivated, it's the backbone that allows you to stand tall day after day, regardless of external circumstances. Your self-respect is no longer a fleeting state, but a constant, unwavering presence in your life. But standing tall isn't just about how you feel inside. It profoundly impacts your relationships with others. When you carry yourself with dignity and self-respect, you naturally command respect from those around you. People sense your inner strength and respond to it. This newfound way of being enhances your communication and deepens understanding in your relationships. You're no longer afraid to express your needs or to listen openly to others. Your interactions become more authentic, more meaningful. Conflicts, when they arise, are handled with maturity and mutual respect. Think about what you can achieve now that you couldn't before. Living with purpose and integrity becomes your default state. You no longer need to constantly second-guess your decisions or seek approval from others. Your actions naturally align with your values because you're no longer willing to compromise your self-respect for temporary comfort or acceptance. You'll find yourself commanding respect in all areas of life, personal, professional, and beyond. This isn't about dominating others or demanding special treatment. It's about carrying yourself in a way that naturally elicits respect. People will be drawn to your authenticity, your confidence, your unwavering sense of self. As you continue to practice the concepts in this book, you'll find that maintaining your self-respect becomes easier and more natural over time. What once required conscious effort now becomes second nature. You'll experience continuous growth with ease, evolving your journey of self-respect to ever higher levels. But here's the truly transformative part, the ultimate payoff for those who've stuck with this journey to the end. As you stand tall in your own life, you become a beacon for others. Your example inspires those around you to seek their own path to self-respect. Without saying a word, you show others what's possible when one fully embraces their worth. This is how personal transformation becomes a force for change in the world. By standing tall in your own life, you create a ripple effect that touches countless others. Your journey of self-respect doesn't just improve your life, it has the potential to elevate everyone you encounter. Imagine a world where more people stood tall in their self-respect. A world where individuals honored their worth, spoke their truth, and lived with integrity. This is the world you're helping to create, simply by fully embracing your own journey. As we close this book, I want you to take a moment to truly feel the power of what you've accomplished. Feel the strength in your spine, the confidence in your stance, the unwavering certainty of your worth. This is what it means to stand tall. You've not just read a book, you've embarked on a profound journey of self-transformation. You've done the hard work of confronting your soft spots, of pushing through discomfort, of consistently choosing self-respect even when it was difficult. And now you stand here, taller, stronger, more authentically you than ever before. This is not the end of your journey, but rather a new beginning. From this moment forward, you have the tools, the knowledge, and the inner strength to continue growing, to face whatever challenges life may bring, and to live a life of unwavering self-respect. So go forth and stand tall. Let your self-respect radiate from every aspect of your being. Be the living embodiment of what's possible when one fully embraces their worth. The world is waiting for you to shine in your full, magnificent glory. Remember, every time you stand tall in your own life, you light the way for others to do the same. This is your legacy. This is your gift to the world. This is the ultimate expression of self-respect. Yet, as you embark on this journey of standing tall, you may encounter situations that challenge your newfound strength and confidence. How do you maintain your composure and make wise decisions when faced with difficult circumstances? The answer lies in a crucial skill that complements and enhances your self-respect journey. Mastering this skill is the key to truly embodying the lessons you've learned and applying them effectively in every aspect of your life. To unlock this final piece of the puzzle and elevate your transformation to new heights, dive into the audiobook, Stay Calm, Think Smart, The Art of Critical Thinking in Difficult Situations. Tap the center of the video now to continue your transformation journey.